Hello, Internet, ladies, gentlemen, sports fans, and alcohol fans of all ages. First thing we'd like to do is welcome you to Cocktails and Curveballs. I'm Jim. I'll be your host today. I'd like to, number one, recognize and thank the men and women in uniform in our military. I'd also like to thank our first responders, our men and women in blue, and everybody out there that is there for us. Anyway, so welcome to Cocktails Curveballs again. And who's got something, fellas? Talk to me. And
I
then
got something.
what you're drinking.
I got something, and I'm drinking something a little special today. It's Absolute Mandarin Vodka with Rain Energy Drink Gummy Bear flavor. It's nothing short of amazing. It's pretty awesome. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Get you high and keep you going.
Yes, sir. So, I've been following this situation. I just didn't want to say anything until it was final, and it looks like Jimmy Garoppolo has passed all of his physicals. He's reported to camp and Raiders camp. And back when this deal kind of took place, there was a lot of buzz about. I mean, they went away from David Carr, and now they're on to Jimmy G. I'm just kind of curious. I'd kind of like to get your guys' opinion. I mean, is that an upgrade? And what, if anything, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to bring to the Raiders that maybe David Carr was lacking? Because I think, to me, it's kind of like splitting hairs, man. I mean, I don't know if that's an upgrade or it was an attitude, leadership. I have no idea. I'd like to hear what you guys think.
Hey, I think it's kind of a side shift. I don't see a huge upgrade either direction. I think Carr going to New Orleans is going to help New Orleans more than Garoppolo going into Vegas.
I agree.
I mean, Carr's a very good quarterback, and there were times he didn't show it, didn't look like it. But I don't know that Jimmy G is a vast upgrade. I kind of keep him on the same par level where either one, I think the team is going to do. They would do the same with either Carr or Garoppolo. I don't think there's a huge advantage there. So that's my opinion. Oh, by the way, gentlemen, while we're talking about it, so there's this brewery over in Comstock, Michigan. It's called Bell's. And I found this when I was years ago working in the Bakken. I bought it at the liquor store. Well, this is a new one they have. It's called Change of Heart. And it's a West Coast IPA, experimental West Coast IPA. Second one they've done. It's 6.8%, man. I'm telling you, it's first time, and it's fantastic. So, yeah.
Right on. Thanks, Lee.
Nice.
First off, I'm drinking a Modelo Chelada Mango Chile. Did I say that right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a mouthful.
Damn. That
Yeah.
sounds kind of tasty. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, it you know what? Let me tell you here in just a second. The aroma is phenomenal. And by the way, it is very good. You're only going to drink one of them. I think.
So classy.
I don't
That
know.
sounds like
I don't think.
I gotta say, man. Listen,
It gets the wafting.
listen. That sounds like a challenge. I feel like you just challenged me, so I'm gonna see if I can only drink one.
Yeah,
I'm yet
pretty
to
good.
just have one beer. I mean,
Yeah.
if I have one, I'm having another one. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just how I go.
Yeah,
So
they're like
my-
Pringles.
Sure.
Like Pringles. So my thought on the Jimmy G deal is, listen, Jimmy G's a winner. Bottom line, whether he's with Kyle Shanahan, and let's remember, Josh McDaniels was his offensive coordinator when he was in New England.
Right.
I think that's where this all came from. Josh McDaniels is a system guy. I think Jimmy G's a system guy, and I think it's going to fit well. I also agree that I think David Carr is definitely an upgrade for New Orleans than who they had. I mean, they're throwing Taysom Hill in there, and I'm assuming they're still going to do that. But over Jameis Winston, sorry, but David Carr is an upgrade, I believe. But I honestly think that it is an upgrade with Jimmy G, and it's because of his style of play. His record is phenomenal, guys. He's like 750 when he's starting.
Wait a second though. Would you put that? I mean, you got to include the fact that he's playing for the Niners, who've got a historic defense,
And the Patriots.
Well,
and the Patriots, and the Patriots. I mean,
but again, he's going to a place where he's very familiar with the coach. The coach is very familiar with him. If they get Josh Jacobs back in camp, I haven't heard anything on that situation.
Do you think though that the Raiders are in any sort of a win now mode?
No,
they got to be, right? You don't think
well,
so?
I don't know, right?
I don't think so.
So
I don't think.
that's-
I think they're still. I think they're still a ways away, guys. They're just their talent level. They've traded away as many good guys as they've ever brought
Well,
in. You
that's
know,
I mean they
Darren
traded
Waller
away
even-
Darren Waller this offseason,
Yeah,
right?
that-
Like that's a huge
right.
weapon. So yeah, I mean that just kind of makes me wonder if what their plan is. Is Jimmy G just he's a stopgap quarterback, right? Do they really believe that he is good enough that he's that much better than Derek Carr? Because if not, that's a really weird move, right?
Well, okay.
I just think that he's better than David Carr for who is there right now.
Sure.
But
But
I-
that's
wait,
what I'm saying. So then you're in the camp that the Raiders think they are trying to win now.
I don't think they're trying to win now.
I think they're
Then
trying to
why even go after Jimmy G?
Because
Let
he's
Carr,
kind of
let Carr walk. I'm just saying, being an okay team in the NFL anymore isn't good enough, right? You're either trying to get all your assets out, rebuild, or
I think
you're trying to
Jimmy
push
G,
for a
though-
Super Bowl.
I think Jimmy G, because where he's been and what he's done, he's a winner. And I think they're hoping that he can change the culture in that locker room and get these guys on the same page to where they start to win. I think they're going to be better than last season, let's be honest. But I don't think it's a win now. I think they're building it for 2-3 years down. They'll try to get more talent.
Let me say it in simpler terms. And again, this is just my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with me. Maybe some of you will. I feel the same way about David Carr as I do Jimmy G. And that is if you are wanting a guy to take over a game and go and win you that game, I don't think either guy's your quarterback. I don't, man. I don't. And that doesn't mean they can't put up fantastic numbers because I think both can. But
I
I'm
think
talking
David
about
Carr might be that guy, though, if you're like, okay, we got 80 yards to go, 2 minutes, just because I
Right,
think he
but-
takes a little bit more chances.
But is he that guy though? Is he
I
that
don't think
guy?
so.
He's not,
I wouldn't want him to be
I
that
mean,
guy for my
we
team.
haven't- Okay, but we haven't seen that from him. He might be that guy in New Orleans, but that's going to be a new wrinkle. That's going to be something else. Jimmy G's never been that guy. He's never been that guy who said, Jimmy G, we're putting the game on your shoulders. Go win it for us.
Right.
He's never been that guy. And David Carr's never been that guy. So really, to me, even I'm not disagreeing with you, Jim, but Jimmy G might be a better option in for the Raiders organization. He might be, with his leadership and he's won. I get it, but at the end of the day, he's not. Neither one's going to be a top 10 quarterback, man. And I feel
Right.
like you go down the list of the last 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 Super Bowl winners. When's the last time a guy outside of the top 10s won the Super Bowl a quarterback rated? Was it Trent Dilfer when he had like a historically awesome defense? But outside of that, every Super Bowl winner, and I don't even need to rack my brain, has been, a quarterback that's just a baller, man. And so if that's your ultimate goal, I don't know how much you really progress by bringing Jimmy G in. That's just my opinion.
But where are you going with, is Jimmy G better than any rookie that was drafted this year?
I would take him right now. I would take
I would
Jimmy
say
G
so.
as a franchise,
Yeah,
probably.
I would say so.
Because
But
it's
who
a
does
safer bet.
Who does Oakland have waiting in the wings? Anybody?
Well, they got that. I think they still have Jared Stidham that came pretty much.
Yeah, come on,
Jared
though. That's
Stidham,
not
come
who you're
on,
No,
taking
but
man.
that's
on.
what I'm saying. But that's
Right.
exactly what I'm saying.
Jared,
That's their other option.
Right.
is
So, okay, just
Stidham.
back to my point then. Back to my point then is that why even bring Jimmy G in and why not try to be shitty and go get Caleb Williams or get a top 15 pick, which they might do with Jimmy G anyway.
But I think they're too good for that, though, Ty, aren't they? I mean,
Are they? But then you're just caught in that weird middle ground, right? That's
Right,
what I'm
but
saying. So maybe
but
they
that's-
really they have to believe in Jimmy G, right?
I think they do. I mean,
They
I
have
think
to,
they
or
do.
They
what the
wouldn't have-
fuck
they
are
wouldn't
you,
have pulled the
or
trigger.
what are you doing?
But I
they
think
wouldn't have
Raiders.
pulled the trigger if they did.
I think Raiders are in that 6 to 9 win. I mean, that's just that's where they're at. They're. I think they've got too much talent to be shitty, but they're nowhere near being a competitor. I just.
I think it's 8.
Yeah.
I think it's 8 wins, and I think you're right. But I think it is a slower build, and they are all in on Garoppolo. Make no mistake.
Well,
They think he's a winner.
Let's remember what they got Jimmy G for. Okay, they got Jimmy G for next to nothing.
Right, that's true. That's fair.
You know,
And
so
you're
getting a proven winning quarterback, a leader,
Yeah.
somebody that you're not going to have to bring into camp and a rookie quarterback. And you're getting him for next to nothing. All right. And in the meantime, you're getting rid of a contract from an ultra talented, and make no mistake, man, David Carr he's talented.
He is
Super talented.
Yeah.
Got a cannon for an arm. So what? I mean, you want to talk about late game heroics. That guy does everything in his power that I've seen anyway throughout his career to blow it late in the game.
right.
Throw an interception, Now Jimmy G, he's kind of done the same thing, and I can remember I think it was an NFC playoff or Super Bowl that over the middle throws a late interception. San Francisco loses. But David Carr needs to get to the playoffs.
Well, and let's be clear. Let's be clear about something. Jimmy G, how many games have you seen him throw have 37 completions and throw for 224 yards? Come on, man. I mean, 37 completions and you can't break 3. And something else too. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Who's got the bigger chip on his shoulder? I mean, that's a good question, right? Who's got the bigger chip on his shoulder going into the season? David Carr or Jimmy G? I mean,
I think it's David.
G.
Oh, really? I think it's David Carr.
And the only reason being is you think about where he was just kicked out of, pushed away from. San Francisco is a Super Bowl contender right now. They're that good, and that's the team that just kind of pushed him aside. Oh, I think he wants to go show the world. Y'all fucked up.
Right, but look what the Raiders did to David Carr, and they basically just shit can him and said, "Oh yeah, Jimmy G's our quarterback." David Carr's gonna be looking at you like, "What am I, fucking corn chips?" I mean,
he is. But so basically, he has played like corn chips. Sorry.
Well, okay.
Ultra talented guy has played like shit. He has.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jim. But that doesn't change.
But here's the thing. Here's David Carr is going to a place with bona fide weapons.
Oh yeah, Michael Thomas will be back, right?
Well, but Chris Olave,
Alvin Kamara.
He
might miss some time.
He
might miss some time because that boy in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Super duper talented though.
Oh man, do everything.
Well, he's going to a place. I don't think David Carr. I think David Carr is like, get the fuck out of there.
I wonder though, right? Because does David Carr go like, that was the guy that you
right?
That he's the reason I couldn't come back to the team I've been with my whole career?
If you're an NFL quarterback, you have to understand that, and Josh McDaniels has done it time and time again, where bringing in his guys, the ex-New England guys, bringing in his guys. Jesus Christ, he brought Jared Stidham with him.
Yeah,
better season.
Once he coaches somebody, he believes his system, all that stuff, he'll take them. And so that's I think where we're all going with that. And I think that's where Josh McDaniels is like, yeah, Jimmy G, I had him in New England. I know all about this guy. He knows all about me. And
Jim, who puts up a better season?
It's probably going to be Carr.
That's what I think.
And it's just because
that's what I think too.
He's got the weapons. I'm looking for a unbelievable season with Chris Olave, with David Carr throwing Chris Olave the football.
Oh,
how many catches do you think Devontae Adams gets though from Jimmy G? With the way he runs routes and just being open, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be able to put it on him.
Yep, that's right. And
but
Jimmy Garoppolo
he lacks arm strength, doesn't he? He does lack
I don't
arm
think he's going
strength.
to have to push it down the field though. Devontae Adams is
his yards after
one of the
catch
he's
is
one of
big.
the best, if not the best route runner.
He
So
is.
I think
You're
that
right.
short
running and
area,
yards
that
out.
short area, well, he's gonna be open quick. I bet he has a lot of catches. Maybe not a huge year, a lot of catches though. I bet.
But
I mean,
you're
he's
right,
not going to
it's-
have. He's not going to have 2,000 like Tyreek, but I get it.
Yeah.
Tyreek
Yeah.
doesn't have 2,000. I'll take the under on that all day.
I know.
long.
I'm just running.
2,000.
Hey, do you think there's a more handsome position group across sports than quarterback and NFL quarterbacks? No,
No, I
right?
don't think so.
No, probably not.
No.
Okay. Well, that
Interesting take.
that settles that. If anybody out there has a more handsome position group across any sport in the world, that is more handsome than NFL quarterbacks, let us know.
Oh God,
But
you're gonna get a
and
bunch of
wait,
soccer.
caveat: they cannot include our panel on cocktails and curveballs because technically we don't play.
No, they can't do.
Because we'd win hands down. We'd win
Yeah.
hands down.
I feel like that's true.
Uh-huh.
It would have to be a very specific category that we enter, like noses that are no shorter than an inch.
Oh, and speaking, wait,
under over.
You didn't see this?
Oh
one?
yeah, how'd
Remember?
that go for you, by the way, Lee?
Remember? So these lovely idiots of mine that I'm talking to today. First, I died a week ago. First, I was literally dead, and you were talking about releasing balloons and shit. That was a lot of fun. And then Tyler busts out and says, no, he's just getting a nose job. He doesn't want to have a nose like ours. I'm like, son of a bitch. I watched it. I'm like, you guys, that's it. Really? This is where you're going. So thanks, guys. Just to let anyone know, our 19-ish, 20 people that watch this, guess what? I did not die. I did not get a nose job, and I'm still here.
We just got our facts, switched around. So
And truthfully, Lee, we're learning to cherish every moment with you. After that
That's
scare.
what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you never got into the reason why.
So that's a good transition. Not the nose thing, but the the Jimmy G, David Carr thing. So football, hey, we're close, right?
46
training camp's
days, baby.
Yeah.
There's some teams missing people in training camp. I think we hit on the Saquon Barkley situation enough, but I don't know how many of you guys all play fantasy football, but I'd like to also hear from the people out there that watch this. Fantasy football, who's your number one pick? And is it a running back anymore? Man, it used to be that the top 5-6 picks were your top 5-6 best running backs.
probably, yeah,
NFL.
It's still,
then
yeah.
maybe somebody would go off
right.
the page a little bit, but I don't think so anymore, man. I think so real quick, let's who would be your first pick right now if you've got number one pick in your fantasy league? Go ahead, anybody.
I'll start because full disclosure, I don't do fantasy football. I just don't have enough
Not
time
yet.
in my life. Not yet. You're right.
Just
But once
wait,
I
we
get
have
things,
after this segment, we have a big announcement for all our fans in the fantasy football aspect. So go ahead.
oh
Lee.
no shit. All right, let's do it. But I haven't before. But I'm used to be. I have tons of people that do. I hear about running backs were the ones that got you all your points, right? I got to go quarterback. And I'm a homer. I'm going to take Tua because I think he's going to have a lot of yards.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
and his
Okay,
completion
next.
percentage, taking
Next.
it all
Next.
day.
Okay, that's why you're
Listen.
in our league this year.
Listen,
Next.
Yeah, and so you guys can beat me.
I'm a diehard Dolphins fan, and I'm going to tell you right now that if you've got the number one overall pick, I don't know how. I think you have to be clinically insane if you don't run as fast as you can to the podium and select Mahomes. Who else is? Listen, man, are you kidding me? Look what this guy's done. I mean, okay, so maybe you take Burrow and it's close. Maybe Aaron Rodgers throws up a good year, but Mahomes is you can just bank on 4,500 yards, probably 45 touchdowns, 8 picks, a quarterback rating of 112 plus. Huge games. He's gonna throw a couple 4-touchdown games up there. I just feel like, man, if you want, it's the safest pick for me. If you've got the number one overall pick, I don't know why you would not take Mahomes?
That's actually
question for you,
interesting,
though.
Pat, because
Go.
I've played a lot of fantasy football over the last decade or so, probably, and I don't win a lot. So I'll start there. But if you want to talk safe, so typically
He's going to
for
get you what he's going
anybody,
to get
well,
you, man.
exactly. But typically in a fantasy football draft, quarterbacks don't start going until this is kind of outside of the realm of what most drafts do, but quarterbacks usually fall a few rounds. And then there's a run on them, just like any position. But I think typically people are still going to go running back with the
Really?
number one over. Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, in a lot of them that I've been in, I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be a guy that goes number one in a
He always
lot
gets
of
hurt,
drafts.
though, Ty. The dude
He gets
always
hurt,
gets
but if we're just talking fantasy football, right?
right.
That's
You're
all
right.
we're talking.
But if he's hurt, he can't get some points, man.
Yeah, but then we start talking if it's a PPR league. For people who don't know, I don't know why you'd be listening to this podcast if you don't know. PPR is points per reception. So that's 1 point right off the top. Catches the ball. A guy like Christian McCaffrey, in years past, guys like Alvin Kamara that we already talked about a little bit, goes really high. And it's also because there's not so many running backs. It's very top heavy in the draft of running backs. And then you try and find a guy who is going to be that breakout star that year. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. But I think it's not a bad decision to go Patrick Mahomes first overall, because if you're drafting some of these guys, and to your point, Pat, about McCaffrey who gets hurt a lot, that's the risk reward thing, right? Because it's the boomer bust. You know what I mean? So you pick a guy like that could win you a league, but he goes down in week 2 and you just wasted that pick. Basically.
Dude, number one. No, here's what I think. Number one overall pick, dude. You can't fuck that up. You can't afford to go boomer bust, man. You've got to take. Look, Mahomes is never hurt. Maybe missed a game or two. Every year he throws up a stupid. Xbox numbers. If I'm not taking Mahomes, then it's going to be one of the 2 or 3 dominant wideouts in the game, and I can't imagine.
I thought you were going to go Tyreek Hill when you were talking about
which
Dolphins
that wouldn't be a bad selection. If I didn't take Mahomes, it'd be maybe Tyreek, or maybe it'd be Devontae Adams. It'd be a stud receiver, but I just, like I said, we're not talking the 3rd overall pick or in the top 10. We're talking number 1 overall pick. I think you are.
You don't pick again for a long ass time from
right.
That's right. You're 23 picks away usually from picking.
That number 1 pick has got to be your horse, man. And I don't know a bigger, better, safer horse than Mahomes right now.
Yeah. Jim, what do you think? Who are you going number 1? And this is a little bit of draft strategy, because again, after you go here, we got a little announcement for fantasy football.
Quarterbacks, here's the thing. You take that quarterback with the first overall pick. Your position, he had better score you 30, 40 points every single game. Or because the rest of your roster is going to be lean, because so many picks in between you and then your next pick. And then you're looking at maybe, so my point is that the reason running backs go so high is because by the time you pick again, there's not one.
You don't have.
You're going to be looking at 4 points from your running backs.
Yeah, you're way down the tier list of fantasy football running backs.
And so that's the reason running backs. Receivers, kind of the same way. And so my first pick, honestly, right now, I think would be Justin Jefferson.
Ooh, that's a good one.
There you go. Right.
That's right in the
wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think I would take. I didn't even think about him.
I think I would take JJ. He's going to be. He is the guy in Minnesota. Kirk Cousins.
Kind of in the NFL, right? If Justin Jefferson ain't number 1 wideout, he's number 2.
Could you imagine anybody but Cousins? And Cousins is he's a safe quarterback. He's going to be on somebody's bench this year. He's
going to throw you some big
numbers since 2018. I just saw a player comparison of Kirk Cousins and Josh Allen since 2018, which 2018 had to have been Allen's rookie year when he did struggle a little bit, typical rookie. Their numbers are like eerily similar.
But isn't it crazy?
They're like damn near the same.
Allen gets all the accolades, and nobody talks about Cousins. I got in a heated argument last year. Somebody's talking about Cousins being a scrub, and I'm like, dude, you better go do your research, man. Like,
and you want to talk about
if he's a scrub because he doesn't win the playoffs, I'll give you that. But if you want to talk about just throwing stupid numbers up there, you better go check your digits, because Cousins has incredible years every year, and nobody talks about him, man.
Well, he's
and
the
you
most
want to
underrated.
talk about a guy that runs around the NFL with a fucking ski mask and robs them? Kirk Cousins. That motherfucker has made so much money in the NFL.
But
he got franchised. Yeah, I mean,
he's top 10, right?
Kirk Cousins. It's hard. I don't know.
You wouldn't put him top 10? You wouldn't put him top 10?
I wouldn't, no.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know that I could.
Quarterbacks you taking before Cousins, man?
I would take at least 10 other guys before Cousins.
I don't. I mean, I. You know what? I would say there's some people's list where he might be top 5 or right outside the top 5.
Holy shit! Those guys' lists are
I don't know about that, man.
I
want them guys to play fantasy football with us.
Well, okay, and I'm not saying he's top 5 on my list. I'm saying is that Kirk Cousins, I think he's top 10. I mean, I would probably put him 8 or 9. I can't think of 8. What 8 quarterbacks?
No, I'm just saying, like, that's kind of a hot take, to be perfectly honest. I'm not saying, wow, like, I think you're stupid. I'm saying, wow, I haven't heard that.
As we're talking, or right after the show, go look at the rating and the QBR that he's thrown up the last 3 years. Dude, Kirk Cousins is a baller during the season, dude.
You're in and you're out. You're in and you're out. He's the most underrated quarterback in the
NBA. Yes.
He really is.
And I've said that. I am on record. I'm on one of these podcasts saying that.
He is very underrated.
Because I think people shit on
Minnesota.
Nobody talks about him, man. Nobody. When you talk about the top quarterbacks in the league, people just step right over Cousins, and I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
No, we're all in agreement on that, because he does get overlooked, but still, the guy, he puts up numbers. That's for sure.
But he also puts up bad
in
numbers sometimes.
Sometimes he does.
He will throw 4 picks. He will throw 4 picks in a game.
And then he'll come back and throw 6.
Right. Yeah.
You know what, Ty? I think he just unlocked the key there, because imagine if, like Jim, you take Justin Jefferson number 1, right? Dude. Yeah. The next time you pick, you'll be able to get Kirk Cousins. You know why? Because nobody wants a fucker.
No, but you'll be able to get but you don't really want a quarterback.
But now we're talking fantasy football strategy, and that's like typically that's.
My only point is that you'll be able to get Kirk Cousins way down at the fucking draft order, because nobody. And you know what? He's going to get you points during the season. He's going to rack up big numbers, and nobody's going to pick him.
So that's the argument. That's the argument against going with Patrick Mahomes number 1, though. That's the whole thing, is that if you can get a guy like Kirk Cousins, who's obviously not going to put up Patrick Mahomes numbers, but he's going to be, in your eyes, top 8.
So you get 2 pretty good players for the price of 1 really good player.
That's the whole. I mean, there's a lot of strategy.
That's the strategy,
right?
That's you've got to fill your roster with guys that are going to score. You're not throwing up any goose eggs from anybody in your roster during.
Okay, so let me ask you this: we don't have the number 1 overall pick, but pick number 2, Mahomes is sitting there. No. None of you guys are taking him.
I'm not saying I would. I personally would not. But
I think Tyler has an agenda here. He's keeping it close to the chest. And I'm going to tell y'all something. If we do any kind of fantasy, I've never done it before in my life. Call it right now. I'm going to win.
It'll be fun.
You guys are going to be pissed. You'll be pissed.
Wow.
Announcement.
That's big boy stuff right there, man.
Our social media team will put like maybe some emojis or something. But we would love to do a cocktails and curveballs fantasy football league. A lot of leagues are at least 10. I've played them in 12. I think we would probably do 12 as our max. But if you are listening to this podcast, a lot of you people, I see that, not you people, that like and share and stuff are all our stuff all across all the platforms that we currently use. Let's do a fantasy football league. Let's do us four, obviously, and let's do 8 other people. Hopefully,
You know how to do math.
people that. Huh? I can do math. I've done it a bunch.
You know how to do math.
All I'm saying,
Math. Math. Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, you guys better hope that I don't win this fucking league because I will talk an endless amount of bullshit.
Okay,
I am gonna run my mouth.
You got a 1-12 shot.
You guys are gonna be like, why did we let this guy play? Why did we let this asshole play? That's what it's gonna come down to.
Okay, so let me word this. Let me just word it a little bit. Let me word it a little bit better here. Cocktails and Curveballs, Fantasy Football League, us 4, 8 people from the internet world, and we'll talk some money. Everybody throws $100 in. We'll talk about payouts. We'll get all that worked out. But if you would like to be a part of Cocktail and Curveballs inaugural fantasy football season, send us a DM, and the first 8 people are in.
I like it.
But you got to be about it. You got to be real about it. You got to be fucking real about it, and you got to want to try to compete here. This isn't letting goddamn Gammy in this motherfucker.
The easiest way to do that is last place pays another 100 into the pot.
Yeah, there you go. We'll talk.
Because
we'll go over. We can go over ground rules. We'll post it.
That'd be awesome.
Post. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. We can give some updates, some rankings, how everybody's doing. Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I've never done it. It'll be fun.
Oh, I think it'd be a blast.
It's easy. It's we use
it's super easy.
ESPN model. You can literally do your draft on your phone.
Mm-hmm. We'll set a date and a time for the whole deal.
Right on.
Yeah, if you do it all from your phone, it'll be easy. It's super easy.
Okay, can we all at least
give me a minute.
The 8 people that might be joining us make sure that Patrick does not win.
He
talks enough shit.
Oh, we're gonna trade. We're gonna trade around him. Yeah, that collusion. You want to talk fucking collusion?
We'll talk collusion. Hell yeah.
Hey, don't do me like the umpires are doing. Arenado in the battery box right now. I mean, a pitch 6 inches off the plate, but you're playing a Wrigley, so we better call it a third strike. Come on, man. I mean, don't at least make it seem a little bit fair.
No,
we're getting
nah.
So just anyone other than Patrick. I've never done it before.
It'll be fun, man. No, it'll be fun.
Never done it.
Easy. Yeah.
Fantasy baseball is a lot of fun too because of the trades. I've had trades during fantasy baseball work out with me in both different directions. A couple times I traded 2 guys that were semi-decent early in the season for a couple of bench guys, and the bench guys became starters and put up big seasons, and I'm like, yeah, get bent. And I've had it to go the other way. Traded a couple minor leaguers and they ended up, Arizarena, ended up being studs, and I mean, but it's a long season, and so trades are a pretty integral part of any kind of a fantasy league.
We gotta interrupt real quick, Tyler. You're the only one that hasn't told us what the hell you're drinking, son. What the hell?
Oh well, I don't know if you've seen me empty this mug about 4 times since you guys have been talking.
Nice.
So I started out. The first one that I had some twisted teas in the fridge. So I didn't know. I don't really drink them that often. I know that they're pretty popular. I mixed a twisted tea half and half, which is basically an Arnold Palmer.
Right.
And there was a peach one sitting in there.
Wow.
And so I put some peach twisted tea in there with that. Delicious. It was awesome. I drank it very fast. I drank it before I ever talked on this podcast.
No, this is a hot take. You need to name that drink that you just concocted. What are you going to call it? This is a Cocktails and Curveballs exclusive.
Arnold Palmer, but peach. I'll call it a Florida Arnold Palmer. A Florida Arnold Palmer.
How about a Georgia Palmer?
Because it's Georgia Peach. Come on, man.
Yeah, because Georgia.
I got to roll with Jimmy on this one. Georgia Peach is a pretty good one.
That's
up to
a
the
lot
audience.
better because that's actually the state where peaches come from, apparently. And I just remembered that.
So you're picking up what he's putting down. Right on.
So you're saying that I'm fucking retarded.
No, the intelligence level.
Oh,
has
you can't
gone
say that
way
word.
up
That'll
on this
get clipped.
podcast.
I'll clip that out. You can't say that.
And not those words directly, Ty.
No,
I
can't say that word.
The intelligence level on this podcast continues to grow. It's just insane. Watching
Yeah,
all of
I
us.
know.
We're
It's
getting
like
so much smarter.
Yeah, it's like I'm getting taught. I get to talk a little bit about sports and stuff, and then I learn things also, like where peaches come from.
Hey, so I got one more thing, guys, real quick. What about the Orioles?
Oh, good Lord. They're killing it.
Wow.
They're scary.
on
They're
a
scary.
payroll on a payroll of like $62,000.
And a farm system that's still like number one.
Yeah,
loaded
That's
with
insane. That's
talent.
crazy.
Yeah, they are loaded. They've got three major league ready studs that they can't get
They
called
got no
up.
room for them. Got no
Yeah.
room for them.
Yeah.
We talked about this before, though. The Orioles weren't that big of a shock coming out of last season. I mean, you could see that the talent was coming and it was there. But holy shit, they're insane right now. I actually enjoy watching it. It's so nice to have somebody other than
and Orioles are a classic example. You get the number one pick or a top 5 pick every year. Good, man. Good. It's good to see that they're scouting, that they're making the right picks. The teams that blow me away, and we've talked about this, the Detroit Lions, how many years in a row do you got to have a top 5 pick and you've just been who have you been picking for the last 25 years, man? I don't understand. Like every year you get a top selection and every year they win 4 games. I mean, recently the Detroit Lions have been better, but for a long time, man, every year they get the number 1 pick and they're garbage. I don't get that.
Well,
That's on the organization.
I'm calling it this year. Detroit Lions win the AFC North or NFC North.
Yeah,
It'd be good to see. It really would.
It will too.
Yeah.
Hey, rapid fire, since the NFL's a big thing coming, go through the divisions. Just pick a winner. AFC East, you got Miami, Buffalo, Jets, Pats. Go. Who are you picking? Start.
Buffalo.
And I got to say Buffalo, man. I mean, I'm a Miami. I've been a Miami, and I'll always be a Miami fan. I'm never going to be a fair weather fan. So they're my team, live or die, doesn't matter. But Buffalo, until Miami can show that, they can stop having these nagging injuries to big positions late in the season.
Okay,
and they
wait.
play with consistency. It's got to be Buffalo.
Right. So here's the thing. I would have gone Miami because I'm that stupid of a fan, but I'm going Buffalo because Colin Cowherd picked Miami, so that's a jinx. Next, Tyler, AFC East. Yeah. Go.
True.
Buffalo.
Okay, AFC North. You got Cincy, Baltimore, who else? Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Jim?
I'm going Cincinnati. As much as it pains me, I'm going Cincy.
Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yeah. That's me too. That's 3. So where are you going, Tyler? I think I might know.
The fucking Ravens. I don't care. I don't care. That's what you guys want me to say so fucking bad? That's what you guys want me to say? Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to be right there. I think they're going to be in the mix.
I got to tell you, it's kind of a homer pick, man. It's kind of a homer
pick. Yeah, it's a homer pick.
Of course it is. So the South, AFC South. Let's just hit the AFC. AFC South, you got Jacksonville, Tennessee. Who else you got? Houston and Indianapolis?
Indy. No, I'm taking Jacksonville for sure.
Me too, Jim.
I think so. Yeah, Jacksonville.
Okay. So the West, I think we'll probably all agree on too. Is you got KC, you got the Chargers, Denver, and the Raiders.
KC. I mean, far and away. It's not even that season. That division will be over by 3/4 through the season.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Okay, so back to the NFC East. You got Philly, obviously, Dallas, the Giants, and the Commanders. Washington.
Philly.
I can't go against Philly. I can't.
Dallas.
Tyler, what about you? You
Dallas.
Go Dallas?
Nobody repeats in the NFC East. You guys are going against history. You guys are trying to fucking reinvent the wheel. Nobody in that division wins it back to back.
Philly's so young. They got so much talent.
They won't do it.
Okay,
so then what Jim just brought up, see the NFC North, right? You got Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, Chicago. I'm going with Detroit on that one. I think.
Yeah, I got to go Detroit.
Jared Goff. Jared Goff has been playing lights out, and I think that they'll take the division and then they'll lose their first playoff.
And they weren't bad last year too. Let's be clear.
No.
Detroit wasn't bad last year at all. There's actually a
No,
few
not
games they lost that they shouldn't have lost.
They were maybe the most exciting team to watch.
Explosive too. Very explosive. Yep.
In that division. Tyler? Come on.
Minnesota.
I don't hate that one. I actually
no.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
Minnesota. Ask me again next year, and I think it'll be Chicago. But Minnesota this year.
Gonna be one of those.
NFC South is kind of a, I don't know. You got Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa. Tampa down, but I don't know. What do you guys think in the South, NFC South?
I'm going Saints. I'm going New Orleans.
I'm going Saints.
Atlanta.
I'm going to go with a rookie quarterback, Bryce Young in Carolina, and I know they're going to throw him right in, but I'm going to go with Carolina on that one because I think that
Carolina needs
it's
a lot.
weak division.
Don't they need a lot?
They've added
the
a lot.
whole division does. They've added a lot of players, but the whole division is weak. That whole division is weak.
Yeah.
So then the tough one, because then this is NFC West: San Francisco, Rams, Seattle, and Arizona.
Oof.
Still going with San Fran until.
Yeah, I got to go Niners, man.
Yeah,
I mean, and for no other reason, that defense is going to be historically great again, man.
I think Seattle's going to give them everything they want.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Seattle's going to be a lot better this year than.
But I think that I just think until.
Wait, but see, with Seattle though, do you guys really think that quarterback is going to duplicate what he did? Because I don't. I really don't.
I think he can be close to it.
Really?
Gino?
That's all.
Gino? I think.
I mean, Gino's
I think he'll be close.
He's been horrible for like 9 years for 4 different teams. Comes out and had a great year last year. I give him that. He had an amazing year. Dude, I just think
Carroll. It's called
I think
Pete
he's
Carroll.
Guys, I can't see.
I think their defense is getting better.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to do.
They've got some good young guys.
Yeah,
Kenneth
Well, and
Walker.
to be clear, they got a haul from Denver. They got a.
They turned it into a lot. Yeah, and they turned it into a lot.
I think
Seattle will be. I think Seattle's going to be the second best team in the NFC West.
Sure.
Arizona's going to suck, and I think
the Rams is tough because it depends, man. They've proven they can win, and then they have down years. It's like
I think they sold.
I got to go
farm.
San Fran.
I think
they did.
Yeah, I think right though the Rams they sold the fucking farm.
They did.
They won one. And they won one. And they won one. So
but you knew this.
So who cares?
You knew this,
but it was inevitable.
Right.
They haven't had a first round pick in like 5 years.
Well, they sold the farm to win the big one. They did, but you knew there was like a 2-year window. Okay. Mm-hmm. After 2 years, if they didn't win it, which they did, but after 2 years, they're going in the bucket for like 5 or 6, maybe 10. They're going to be horrible.
Yeah, who knows, right?
Yeah,
they're going to have nothing to rebuild.
But they got one.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you guys think that Sean Payton is going to just basically resurrect Russell Wilson in Denver? Because I kind of do. I think Sean Payton's going to help.
I think Denver's going to be a lot better.
I think I'll bet you Denver comes out with the most improved record.
Yeah, I can see that.
Plus wins in the NFL this year. And Sean Payton's already started. He basically told Russell Wilson's team that his fitness guys and his nutritionalists and all that, his own personal guys, threw him off the facility. So
but you know what though? You want to talk about somebody that's going in with a chip on his shoulder. Russell Wilson took a lot of flack, and rightfully so, last year for the year he had. Now you want to? This dude's going to show you who he is, man. Russell Wilson, I would have probably put him before last season. I probably would have put him top 5. I mean, Russell Wilson is a great quarterback, man. And you know what? I think he's wanting to prove himself. And I think with Sean Payton in there, I don't know if there's another coach that's going to push him to achieve what he's going to achieve this next year. I think Denver's going to be, and they might, they're going to be a good team, man. You watch.
I think they are.
Well,
too.
I understand too, though. When Russell went there, they had given the farm away. He had nobody. He had people out of the accounting office upstairs catching footballs and blocking on the O-line. But I think now they've acquired some talent. But I think Sean Payton makes all the difference there. And I think Russell Wilson's going to look more like Russell Wilson. has in the past.
Just out of curiosity, I don't know if you guys, I haven't really been following, but Sean Payton, did he bring in his own assistants or did he just come in and keep who was there? Do you guys know?
Oh, I'm sure he brought in his own assistants.
Well,
I
I
think
just
all his
He
guys.
might have kept a few guys or whatever, but
I didn't know if he kept the same D coordinator, O coordinator, if he just came in and said, I'm bringing my own dudes in. But it ain't going to matter. Sean Payton runs a tight ship. I think he'll be a good coach.
no, I
Exactly.
think Denver's going to be much improved.
Yeah, I agree. Agree.
So anyway, guys, let's wrap that up there. Great show. Appreciate all you guys' input. And anybody out there that wants to comment on anything we've said, agree, disagree, whatever, you could find us on Cocktails and Curveballs on Instagram, Facebook, cocktails and curveballs at gmail.com, and look us up on YouTube. Share, subscribe, and let's get this fantasy thing going. I'm really excited about that. And hey, put your hand up, volunteer, and let's do some fantasy football. Well, not you guys.
Yeah, well,
But anyway, so the last thing we like to do is we like to do some curtain calls. Something that's happened great this week or not so great, or just something that you want to bring up and give somebody some accolades for. Go ahead, Ty. Why don't you start us?
yeah, so I was just watching this documentary on the 1982 Little League World Champion Kirkland, Washington baseball team. It's on ESPN. I have ESPN Plus, so I watched it on there. It's pretty incredible. It seemed like, and you guys would probably know more. You guys were alive at this point. I wasn't. Do you guys? Does that ring a bell?
Oh yeah.
Because they make it seem like Taiwan had been like dominating the Little League World Series, right? At this point in time, from
big time.
just watching the documentary, and they were like advertising this documentary as like a Cold War effing win for the United States. They made this seem like it was so goddamn important for the United States. And I'm just curious, like, do you guys remember that? Is that a thing?
I do. I was still pretty young, but I do remember that. And he wasn't joking when they built it as a Cold War, because the Cold War was going on then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's, when Reagan came in, and not to get into politics, but there was a Cold War with the USSR. And
Right.
that was a big deal, because you're right. Taiwan, it was always the foreign teams that had been owning the championships in the Little League World Series.
Mhm.
So that was a big deal when I couldn't remember Kirkland, but I knew Washington.
Yeah.
Team out of Washington won it. And I think, shit, I was young, but that was really cool. And
that's
that was
awesome.
a big deal
So
at that time.
So like you said, I mean, I just thought that was, I don't know, it was really neat. And I was looking forward to kind of, maybe that's something we could get into at another time, but that's cool that it really was as important as they made it seem to be throughout this documentary. And so shout out to that. That was pretty cool.
Thanks, Ty. Lee?
Okay, so I got one, guys. I've been so busy, and I apologize. I missed last weekend. I may have to miss another one upcoming. I'm not sure. Moving houses, getting internet set up, all that kind of stuff. But whoever the dude is that decided to put 300 milligrams of caffeine into an energy drink called Rain, it has kept me going through this entire process of moving. And so to whoever makes the Rain energy drinks and said, you know what? Everybody's 160 milligrams. Let's go 300. Thank you for that, because it keeps me going, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and to ride the coattails of that Rain energy drink, both gummy bear and the orangesicle. Good God, man, that is heaven in a cup right there. I'm going to be honest with you. I
would be happy here at Cocktails and Curveballs to rep Rain energy drinks.
I agree.
So
concur.
Hit us up.
I concur emphatically. My curtain call is going to be Jason Aldean. I've always been an Aldean fan. I'm not going to go into the particulars, but I love his new single, Try That in a Small Town, for the biggest reason I think a lot of us are born and raised in small towns. The dude loves his country. He's got a beautiful wife. They stand for all things good in this country, and I love his new single. It's really catchy. For anybody listening to this podcast, haven't heard it, go check it out. I love me some Jason Aldean, man. Well done.
Here's to that. On that note, some guys that maybe you ought to throw in there is Luke Bryan, Luke Combs,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hank
Yes,
Jr.
sir.
Some guys have pulled their videos off of that particular network. Anyway, without going too deep into that, my curtain call goes to somebody that I normally bash on this podcast, and that's ESPN for their programming and blah, 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 blah. They've got a deal every year. It's called the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's right around the ESPYs. It's right around the Jimmy V thing. You know, everybody knows who Jimmy Valvano is. But it's such a good, you know, the Sports Center, you watch Sports Center, and it's such a cool thing for these kids that are terminal, were terminal, or whatever. ESPN goes out and whoever their favorite athlete is, or who their favorite team, they go out and they hook these young kids with their favorite team, the other day I watched one with Dustin Poirier, and it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And you know, so I'd like to give a shout out, a curtain call to ESPN, and let everybody know that no, I don't hate ESPN, or I don't, you know, they do some really good things within our community also. So yeah, big shout out to ESPN and the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
That's awesome,
So,
dude. It's a good way to end it.
Cheers.
That's our show, fellas.
Yeah, right on.
Ladies, gentlemen, that's our show. Again, Cocktails and Curveballs. You can find us across all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Gmail, and YouTube. Check us out. And we'd love to hear from you. And let's get the fantasy football thing rolling.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Yep. More to come on that.
Yeah. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.